Hello and welcome back to the Reme Show. I'm Raykhon and I'm super excited today to present to you the one person, I think, for whom I created this podcast. Because, like when you're creating the podcast, you think, who is my audience? I was like, I want Larissa Pak to like my podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a very dear friend of mine, a super intelligent, fun, loving lady from Kazakhstan, Larissa Pak. Boom! Oh, yeah!
Hi there. Hi, Raykhon. By the way, it's Raykhon. It's Raykhon.
I know. It's like one of those. So, Larissa, I presented you. I know you've done so many things in your life, but how do you, like when you go to the parties and people say, hi, what do you do? What do you say?
Well, these days it's difficult because I don't have an official employment, and I have to say, well, I do sports and I do sourdough bread. And that's how the conversation stops. But I think it's a very interesting conversation about how to ask this question. Like instead of saying what do you do, which I often ask myself, because you just need to clear that out. But maybe there should be other conversation openers. There are a lot of TED Talks about it, how to do that. But I think that one of the good questions is what are you passionate about these days? Maybe not overall, but what are you passionate about these days?
So we're striking straight into the heart of today's episode. We decided that we want to talk about passion projects. I really want Larissa to share her experience. She had many passion projects, but one in particular that stands out, I think, a recent one. And we want to kind of talk through the journey, what happens. This podcast is my passion project, and it pulls me so much. Yes, I don't earn a living through it. Yes, it's like takes time, but I love doing it.
True. And one of the many passion projects which I had over the years was also podcasting. I've had so far 3 podcasts. And I think that overall, if we talk about passion projects, it's something that not necessarily brings money, but something that you cannot not do. I think that the passion project is exactly that. You cannot not do it. Something that you want to explore, something that you immediately spark, like it sparks energy inside of you.
Mm-hmm. But do you think it's specifically for creative people or for anyone really?
It is for everybody. But also, like I find passion projects are great for actually exploring your creativity. So it doesn't mean that you have to dedicate your life for this, but it's kind of like different alleys. You go there, make a couple of steps, you like it, you go on. If you don't, you just shift the lane. I think it's a great way for exploring yourself.
Can I tell you one definition that really kind of defines it for me? Yeah. In my experience, the passion project is about being who you truly are. With this project, it was this kind of fight between, the certain person that I've been creating and building. There is Raykhon Dimitri. And I just wanted to be Raykhon Matyakubova. This is my journey and I'm enjoying it. And I wanted to ask you, can we take
Can I add on that? Because I've known both of the personas, right? Because I've seen you on screen, I've seen you doing reports, and you're great at it. But there are certain standards and rules which are applied, especially in the international broadcasting network, right? And you have to behave a certain way. And Raykhon, which I know is a fun-loving, like, yeah, let's do that, and incredibly kind and curious, and like the best person in the world, really. If I would be asked who I would be spending the last day of my life with, I would say Raykhon, because you
Oh my
are
God,
that
thank
kind of
you.
person. And I think that this project actually brings the best of you, because that's who you really are. And I think that what really makes you love this project is because you don't have to pretend to be somebody else, but you are who you are. And you're right about description.
Thank you. Let's talk about your passion project. Can we delve into that?
Which one?
Popcorn.
I think that was the passion project, and honestly, it was a business idea which I had a long time ago, like 10 years ago, when I traveled around the world and I was looking for something to do after the trip. I couldn't find enough confidence in myself to do that. And then 10 years later, when I came back from another project from the States back to Kazakhstan, I said, it's now or never, like, because it's kind of a gestalt thing, when you have to close it, like you have to realize it before you die or before something happens. I mean, I knew the market is very slim in Kazakhstan because it was a gourmet popcorn, organic,
Gourmet
every
popcorn.
gourmet. Yes, every ingredient was made from scratch, and we were very picky about it. Anyway, it was a great endeavor, but we closed this business, and I think one of the reasons we closed it because I really treated it as a passion project instead of treating it as business, and that these are two different things. That's why currently I'm still processing, because when people say just follow whatever your dream is, like, and passion, yeah, you can, but it costs a lot of money. Like recently, I was talking to my husband because he's an engineer and he was trying to fix something in the house, and he graduated from a very renowned university in Turkey, and I said, like, how can you, a top graduate from the Istanbul Technical University, cannot fix this camera? And I said, and he told me immediately, how can you, a graduate from Harvard Business School, could not run a popcorn business? Like, that's exactly the thing, But that's true, because when I was working for different companies, I was always treating it solo as a business because popcorn was my I eat a fix, and I just wanted to do it. I was not looking objectively at many things, and I didn't have enough runway, and it just took me a lot of guts to realize it soon enough, not to endure more financial loss. But yeah, it's still kind of a experience which I'm still processing, which I'm very happy that I've done it. But would I do it again? I don't know.
So just to summarize, the project was creating gourmet popcorn, really exquisite, flavored, and I've tasted, and my daughter tasted, and we loved it. You just open this beautiful packaging, and inside is pistachio flavored popcorn, or what other flavors did you have?
Every flavor was inspired by the travels, so we would take you to the Mexico or Japan with matcha, or to Korea with kimchi.
Was there a moment when you launched this passion of yours as a business? Was there a moment when you were feeling really great about it and thinking, yes, I'm doing it, it's going to work?
No, that freedom that you have when you run your own business and you don't have any higher ups, you have to report to. It's really intoxicating, like you do whatever you want, and nobody, and you do it based on your experience. And I've had like 25 years of experience in marketing, so having all these crazy campaigns which we had was intoxicating. And I think that kept me going, and everybody who saw our campaign said, like, oh, it's something fresh and new, we'll love it, we'll love the visual language, we'll love the messaging, everything. So it all...
You mean all those like incredible ads that you were creating?
Yeah.
The puffy pink.
I loved it. It was my best creative outlet.
You really felt like you were expressing yourself to the fullest.
Yeah, I felt like when we were discussing with my partner Oksana about the tone of voice in marketing and the visual representation, we thought about being ourselves, and we ourselves are fun lovers, and we're a little bit crazy, but we're in the same time honest, and that all we wanted to combine. So exaggerate the craziness a little bit, but so it speaks to the product, it speaks to the market. yeah, I think we kind of did a good job.
Because your background, your specialty, and that's what I remember when I first met you in Kazakhstan, you're a marketing specialist, right? This is
I
what
started
you
as a
did.
public relations specialist. I worked in public relations for maybe 7 years, and I joined the bank, and that's where I combined two functions. So I was a managing director for both marketing and corporate communications, and I worked there for 7 years. That was the point actually when I started one of my passion projects as well. It was organizing TEDx conference, and I think that most of my great friends I met through that conference, because yeah, it just gives you a door opener to so many amazing personalities.
TEDx Almaty. I remember
Yeah,
those
yeah.
first
In
editions, and
Astana as well. Yeah.
it was incredible. Really, the quality of it was so good, and in fact, some of the people that I've heard on stage still are in my memory. Of course, the format is amazing, and you were super passionate about TEDx at the time.
We felt like the freedom that we still had experienced at the level, and that impact we were feeling that we could make as personalities, to the fate of the country and community. And I felt like my set of skills were perfect for exactly that, like bringing in new ideas, innovative ideas, and spreading it. So giving access to more people, and I felt like it could really help the community.
What is the moment, if we take one of your first passion projects, which was organizing TEDx conferences in Almaty and Astana, what was the moment when you thought, I've grown, I've grown over this, I'm really
I
driven by this
I
idea,
It
but then
was very natural in a sense because the COVID hit. The COVID hit and we couldn't gather anymore. So my last TEDx I made online, so everybody was masked and we had very little audience. We had zero audience. We had only speakers and we had broadcasted it around the world. But at that point, I felt like, yeah, maybe it's too much effort and very little, and not too much audience because there was a lot of content at that time. And then I left for the US for the project, and yeah, it kind of naturally. I said to myself, I've done my duty, and 10 years is 11 years is a long term. And I felt like there were people who can take it over, and it's still going on. So I felt secure. And yeah, I've opened up my time for something else.
and, I know we're jumping from one passion project of yours to another, but popcorn still, I thought it was so
Thank you, Raykhon.
delicious. It was so delicious.
Raykhon, my
But then,
popcorn is like your tapachki project, like your slippers project. Right. For
yes,
many
so
years, Han had this idea that the felt slippers, which are so popular in our part of the region, should be accessible to all. And it's very solid and valid idea. Yeah.
and first and foremost to the British people in their cold houses, because they
Exactly.
do not heat up their houses the same way that former Soviet people do, and it's
Yeah.
always cold. The bills
It's
are
about
very
comfort.
high,
Yeah.
and I remember at some point. Every Christmas we were bringing these slippers and everybody loved them, but they were not made to last. And yes, it was a passion project. It's like you want to venture yourself as a business person, but there wasn't there were no tools at the time that we have now, for example, with the AI, when you can just spit out a business plan in seconds if you know what you want. And yeah, it was an interesting experience. I'm sure there's still like maybe a dozen pairs of unsold slippers in the attic of my mother-in-law.
Never too late.
UK,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But
But I think that. What do you think? Will you pursue it at some point, or it will remain in the attic, mental attic?
I think I would love to gift it to people, but no. I'm not going back. The businesswoman who's selling slippers from Kazakhstan. I even tried selling them at a Christmas fair. But look, life moves on, and it's been already so many years, and you grow, and your interests and passions, I suppose, change with all the changes that happen in your life. But
You know what's great about passion project as well? I was thinking about it. Is that once you go down that road and you explore it, you have no regrets. You know, like even though I have regrets maybe of losing money, but I don't have that mental regret. I haven't tried it. And the same with TEDx or any podcast that I had, it always gives me something back. And maybe don't invest money in a passion project so much, but yeah, if it doesn't cost a lot, like for example, making this podcast, which is your own which is your own time, and maybe uh, the
some
apps that you're
expenses.
using, yeah, that's it, you know. Or for example, at some point I had the passion project of quilting, how do you say it? Yeah, I've
Yes,
done like,
yes.
you know, plenty, or
I
sourdough, or anything. I think that anything that you are drawn to, I think it's worth just because it nourishes your soul. I mean, I'm sorry it sounds so trivial, but it's kind of true, you know. Like at the end of the day, you go to sleep by yourself and you think, okay, what have I done today? What made me happy? That makes me happy.
You preempted my question, because I was going to ask you, what's your advice to those who are trying to decide whether to follow the passion project or not? And there's always this dilemma, but I have to do the work that pays money because I have bills to pay, whatever, school fees to
And
pay.
you should do that.
I
I think that my advice would be exactly that. Keep doing what brings you money, because at the end of the day, you have to pay the bills, but spare some time, because we all have spare time, you know, and even when you're super busy, you can all like dedicate like 1 hour of your day for something that you really like or want to pursue. And I would say that, yeah, either join somebody else's passion project for a start, you know, for example, as a volunteer, or yeah, for example, if let's take a podcast as an example. So a lot of people are writing podcasts. Just volunteer to help them to see how this world works, you know, and then do your own. And so it doesn't always have to involve investments. That's my advice. Because, for example, at TEDx, we had so many volunteers. We all were volunteers, right? We weren't allowed to be paid. So A, we were meeting great people. B, we were learning new skills. C, for example, the volunteers that we had, like students, some of them got so inspired that they, by their experience volunteering for us, that they've chosen it as their job. You know, they went on like studying event planning, or I don't know, design or something else. I think it's really cool, you know, to see to test the water.
It's true. You know, I have recently sent an application. I'm joining the International Women's Association of Georgia. I've sent the
Wow.
application, and I must
Sounds-
say that for years I was perhaps slightly kind of arrogant when it comes to this kind of women's associations, thinking, oh, I'm a busy woman, I'm a journalist, I'm, like I don't have time for these coffees on Wednesday at 11 a.m. They have not much to do. It was like I've changed my opinion over the years, because actually I do want to do some volunteer work. I do want an association with other women, because together we are power, and do something that is for your soul, like this podcast.
That's how you define it. You know, like the passion project is defined whether or not you have passion for it. So if you prioritize Instagram over the passion project, then maybe it's not so passionable.
I would
You
say,
know what
but
I mean?
it's really, I think the hardest thing, like with anything, is to begin, to start, to put that first step, first call, I don't know, first letter
Oh, it's like that
on
in
your email.
everything. You know, yoga people say that the hardest thing to do is to roll out your mat.
And you do have a current passion project, which is a podcast about Kazakhstan food.
It's something in the making. So I started. Food has always been my in the ranks
Passion.
of interests. Yeah, like number 1, 2, 3, like top 3. So I worked in the food startup, and I've done a lot of different marketing campaigns around it. And then I realized that the food scene in Kazakhstan is so unique. You know it, right? You've lived here. With 100 ethnicities being deported to Kazakhstan back in 1937. 100 ethnicities. Can you imagine that? Out of nowhere, Germans, Koreans, Uyghurs, Russians, Ukrainians, you name it.
Chechens, Tatars.
Everybody got to be had happened to be placed in Kazakhstan, and because it was mostly political deportations, people came with nothing but their culture. And the main cultural code which they brought was food, because most often you were not allowed to practice or experience your own language or religion or something. But food considered to be something very neutral, and that was the cultural exchange. So these days, almost 100 years later, if you look at the Kazakhstan's Kazakh table, when you come to somebody's home, you will see the Kazakh beshparmak, you will see Korean carrots, you will see Uyghurs,
Like
pepper and everything. So it's so mixed up, mashed up. It's really like the melting pot of Central Asia. So I thought about exploring. It's kind of an anthropological a little bit study, exploring both the origins of these recipes, but also the histories of these people who came. So it's a multi-layered podcast. When we it's not podcast. It's a documentary which is also running together with the podcast, because as a documentary we were thinking about having each episode devoted to a specific ethnic group, and exploring the history of the family, history of specific people. How did they get here? What was the recipe of their grandmother, and why was it special? And how does it make them feel? And it's really interesting, something that I really like to do. I like exploring.
And for this project, are you looking for partners? Who is paying for it?
Currently it's self-financed, but yes, ideally I would, I need a partner, a financial partner, or a sponsor who would sponsor the documentary. Podcast is fine, I can do it by myself, but the documentary is a big undertaking, especially food. Food needs to be shot beautifully. Deportation is very traumatized experience, which a lot of people in Kazakhstan are still not talking about. It's a taboo. It was a taboo, and still kind of a vaguish area.
Very interesting. Well, I hope someone who will listen to this podcast would be like, Larissa Pak, I would be so interested in helping your project. And on trauma, my sister, my genius sister violinist, who lives in the States, she's a virtuoso, Yaira Matyakubova. She did a project recently which, through science and music, which shows that trauma is something that is carried through DNA. So when you're talking about 3 generations of people from one family, it's really crazy, isn't it? How it stays in the family. So good luck with your project, and I'll
Thank
tell you
you.
what. I think it's not the last time you are the guest in the Ramesh show. I want to talk to you more. Honestly, like about all sorts of subjects.
Hearts.
Why they're so small? What about this one? Big heart.
Yeah.
You know how like the prime minister of Armenia is doing this? He's playing Zemfira, and then he's doing the big heart. Okay. Lots of love.
Thank
Larissa
you.
Pak, thank you so much for
Subscribe.
being
Hit the
in...
subscribe button, and
okay.
you will learn more.
Hit the subscribe button where? In this podcast. Yeah. Subscribe, people. We're doing the passion for you. Subscribe. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.